Have you ever wondered what it would be like to buy a home outright? Just think, no mortgage payment, no mortgage, just cash. Well, whether you're an investor or just a home buyer just wanting to understand the process, today I am going to be discussing what it takes to buy a home with cash. And I'm going to walk you through what you need to do so that the transaction will go through smoothly, because there are still steps you need to take. Hello, everyone. This is Connie. I'm the owner of Buy Without Realtors, guiding you with the knowledge and tools to confidently buy your own home on your own. And today we're going to be talking about cash, buying a home with cash. Now, I just want you to know that I personally have not bought a home all cash. So, however, even though I have not experienced it myself, I have, as a notary signing agent, closed a lot of all cash deals for real estate, people selling their homes and the other person buying it with all cash. So I am going to give you a unique perspective just because I understand things from the closing end of things. So if you would like to learn more, then let's get started. If you are in a position to buy a home with cash, you are way ahead of the game. However, there are still some steps you need to take, like evaluating the property and price, making an offer, negotiating, conducting your due diligence, and then, of course, closing the deal. And I am going to walk you through each of these steps. So let's get started. Step one is evaluate the property and the price. Just because you're paying cash doesn't mean that you can just throw your money out there and you haven't done any research on the property to make sure that it's worth the amount of money that you're paying for it. So you still need to pull the comparables in the area, and those are the homes that have sold, not the ones that are listed, the ones that have sold. You need to contact the seller so you can view the property. And of course, I always talk about that home inspection, and I understand in some areas people are foregoing the home inspections because properties are just selling that quickly. But in some other areas, some other markets, home inspection is so important. So you don't want to skip that step. The next step is to make an offer. Decide on the amount that you're willing to pay for the house after you have done that research. Make sure that those comparables match up. And then, of course, you don't necessarily want to lowball or offend the seller. So make the offer reasonable, even though that you were paying cash. Then you want to make an offer in writing, and don't forget the contingencies. Make sure that you get a clear title, that's one of your contingencies, as well as you need to make sure that if you're doing a home inspection, that there aren't any major problems with the house. So you need to make that a part of the contingencies, which is part of your written offer. And then you want to submit that offer to the seller, and be sure and let the seller know that it is all cash, you are paying cash, and that you can close quickly. If there are a lot of properties or a lot of people looking at this particular property, cash is king. So be sure and let that seller know that you are paying cash and that you can close quickly. The next step is to negotiate. Just because you're paying cash, do not think that that seller is going to just accept your offer blindly. He may come back with a counter offer. So you need to be prepared to negotiate back and forth to make sure that it's a win-win situation for everybody. And then you need to write up a purchase and sale agreement. And I would recommend if you're buying this home on your own, contact your real estate attorney. They would be happy to write up a purchase and sale agreement for you to make sure that all of the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. One thing I also want to mention is make sure everything is in writing. Any agreement, make sure you get it in writing. Do not accept any verbal agreements from the seller. Get everything in writing. You write it down and you give it to the seller. Just my little tip. And the next step is conducting your due diligence. And this is so important. Do not skip this step, please. And again, I mentioned about getting a home inspection, so it would be good to go through that process. But another thing you really need to check into is having a title search done on the property. It doesn't make sense for you to buy a house from this seller and the seller isn't even the owner of the property. And if you were to do a title search, then you would be able to find out who the actual owner is and also a chain of title of the previous owners as well. So you've got to contact either an escrow or a title company directly and order a title report. And that will probably be a cost that will be out of your pocket unless you negotiate with the seller. One other thing, consider having an appraisal done. Granted, you've done your research and you've conducted your due diligence with the comparables, but having an appraisal done, that appraiser might find properties that perhaps you may have missed. So that is something that you might consider before closing the deal, is having an appraisal done on the property that you're considering buying. Now, also as a side note, you may want to consider opening up an escrow and with an escrow and title company or a real estate attorney, because that escrow is that, of course, neutral third party that is going to handle all of the funds. They can also order a title report. It's 2 fees that you would probably have to pay. And they can order the title report and provide that to you as well. So they can handle the funds, they can make sure the transaction closes smoothly. So that is something as a side note that you may want to consider, is opening up escrow with an escrow company. And the final step is to close the deal. Schedule right before closing and transferring your money, schedule a walkthrough of the property before you sign on that dotted line, just to make sure that everything is still there. Everything that was negotiated up front, if there's a washer, dryer, curtains, furniture, whatever was negotiated, that is still in the property. So definitely do a walkthrough prior to signing on the dotted line. And then, of course, you're going to arrange for your funds to be transferred to close the transaction. Now, one thing I didn't mention was that when you're making the offer, that seller may want proof of funds. I should have mentioned that before, but I'm mentioning it now. So that seller may want proof of funds since you are paying all cash. So be prepared to either give them your bank statements, investment statements, or some notice from your financial planner stating that you do have enough money to close the transaction. So now, as we are closing the deal, you arrange for those funds to be transferred to the seller. And again, escrow can handle all of that to make it smooth, legitimate, and clean. And then you're going to sign the necessary paperwork. So, and that's where I came in, because I was able to pick up the paperwork from the escrow officer and then take it to the parties and have everyone sign. just to make sure that everything went smooth. Now, one thing that's a bonus when you're paying cash is that the transaction can go so much quicker than if you were to get financing. So at the closing table, there aren't a lot of documents, and you transfer the funds, and you're basically a homeowner. You own the home. So it goes a lot faster if you are paying cash. A few more things to think about, even though you are paying cash. You still need to budget for your closing cost. There could be title and escrow fees. There could be transfer fees. There could be taxes. There might be liens that need to be paid off. You just never know. But you really do need to have a budget for your closing cost. And depending on the price of the home, I cannot tell you how much it would be because every transaction is different. And I am not a licensed professional, so I cannot give you what those costs would be. However, you can always check with the title and escrow company, and they would be willing to give you their fees for the service that they provide, as well as a real estate attorney or a home inspector. So you can gather your closing cost and your fees accordingly. In addition, the title report will also show you what the taxes are that you will be paying on a quarterly or yearly basis. So there you have it. These are some key steps that you would need to take in order to close a loan if you're paying cash. While paying cash makes the process simple, it's still important to follow some of these steps in order to protect yourself as well as your investment. And of course, if you need more personalized guidance, just head over to my website and book a consultation with me, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. As well as, if you have any comments, please leave them down below and I will answer those questions. Or if you're looking for any other videos you'd like me to produce, I'd be happy to produce them for you. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips on how you can buy a home without a realtor. And if this video helped you, please hit that like button as well as the notification so you don't miss any videos that I will be producing at least once a week. And remember, with the right tools, a little bit of confidence, you too can buy your own home using Buy Without Realtors. See you next time, and thanks for watching.